Alfred Howie, and I was born in Abilene, Kansas, at the Abilene Hospital, July the 16th of 1936. And Dad brought me home, Mom, and we had corn at the bottom of the lane there. And the grasshoppers had ate all the leaves off of it. It looked like fishing poles. Yeah. The grasshoppers had stripped the leaves off the corn. 1936 was a dry year, and grasshoppers. Well, my dad's name was Arthur Howie, and my mother's name was Gladys Howie, and they were farmers. They were the second generation of farmers, and I was the third. Hugh Howie was the first one. They bought it in, I don't know, 1922 from a bankrupt sale and lived there on the creek. That same year he had a note coming due, and he had borrowed money from a guy about 2 miles north of him. The only way he could get to him was to ride a horse through the floodwater. And when he got down there to where this guy lived, here come a haystack. The flood had washed this haystack down towards this guy's house, and he helped him push that haystack on by. My dad he's kind of laid back. He never got excited. Grandpa Howie, he was more like your dad, and he was a slave driver. Everything had to be done right. He was gun-ho all the time, gun-ho. I was kind of gun-ho when I was growing up too. When I was a kid, when school was out, I had chores to do when I got home. I was working all the time with hogs or with cattle or something all the time. I used to raise registered Yorkshire hogs, and I'd take them to state fairs and show them, and I got ribbons down there in a cigar box full of ribbons. Grand champions and you name it. And we had sales down there, and went to Ark City with a bunch of them. I used to wash them, put white talcum powder on them to make them whiter. I was all over the country with them hogs. And then Wilma moved right across the road from us down there. So I had good courtship. I mean, just simple. Walk right across the road. The guy that they bought the 40 acres from was Herb Bollinger, and we used to farm with him together. And he had 3 girls. And one of them he kind of thought I was going to, get next to. But when them girls moved in there, well, I forgot them. And I wasn't interested in them anyhow. and so it made it easy for me. And he said too, well, there's a guy bought the place that's got 2 girls. So he said, I don't know. Well, that's the way it worked. That's the way it worked. It seems like things just kind of took off, but I really never really pursued anything. That's the way it worked. Yeah, we had a good wedding. A lot of people attended. It was cloudy and cold and misty. We parked the car up at my grandpa's place. He lived in town, 14th Street. And we thought, oh yeah, we're safe. Well, of course, the kids had already tied the tin cans and rode all over it. And when we got it, we had to drag the tin cans down Buckeye. We've been married 65 years, and we have never had a fight. We have never had a fight. I don't know what I do without my wife. She's the rock.
She's the rock?
She's the rock. If it wouldn't be for her, we'd both be in a nursing home.
I don't know about that.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it alone. It seems like nowadays they get married and divorced so fast that you just can't keep up with them. It just makes you wonder. Of course, we're living in a whole different era now. Things moving so fast. It just seems like there's too much talk out there. if they were more busy, keep their nose to the grindstone, I don't think they'd be as much trouble. They get to talking too much. The advice, I guess, is just, you know, work hard and do your thing and go on. I started farming right out of high school, and I didn't go to college. Well, everything was right there, so why not? I mean, what else could you do? You couldn't do anything else, and it was a no-brainer. Oh, I like farming. Farming's been good to me over the years. You know, harvesting the wheat, cutting the wheat, milo and stuff. Yeah, well, I used to run a combine and harvest it. Yeah, that's always the good part. Whether it's good or bad, and I've cut some bad ones too. I mean, real bad ones. But the good ones have outweighed the bad ones. So it's been good. You know, what can you say? But I've had a lot of kids that were my age that I went to school with, never made it.
Wait, so what was your secret to making it?
Well, I never overspent. And I always, when I wanted something, I went in and paid cash for it. I never borrowed no money. Never borrowed. I paid cash for everything I bought. And we still try to do that today. And that's the reason. That's the reason right there. If you want something, pay for it. If you can't pay for it, you just don't need it. I didn't want to go in debt. I wanted to pay for everything I got. And that's what I did. The only time I ever borrowed any money was from for an old car that I had bought. And that was years ago. And now everything I buy is cash. Cash on the billhead.
That's a good way to live.
It is. And it's worked. It's worked. Things have really changed. Now we're no-till. We don't work the ground much. And we can raise just as good a crops as we did before. And why burn all that gas doing that? And things have really changed. They're a lot faster. When I was a kid, we sat out in the hot sun all day long, you know, and the dirt. And now, if they got an air-conditioned cabin, dry air, clean air, it's a whole different ballgame. It's just like sitting in your living room. Yeah, cool. And if it's cold outside, you turn the heater on. If it's hot outside, you turn the air conditioner on. I mean, you can't beat it. It all costs money. But you know, I wouldn't go back to the old times. You know, that's pretty good to hang on a farm for 5 generations, because they have said that the first generation gets the farm, the second one holds on to the farm, and the third one loses it. Yeah, that's the old story. Yeah, I was supposed to lose it. And here we are, going on 4th or 5th generation. Son will be number 5 generations. Now that's pretty good. But your dad's a lot like me. He goes out and buys things beyond our means. And that's what it takes. You know, we could have bought a lot of ground, but we would probably paid too much for it. We're still here, and we're still going. You know, that's the old saying. The first one gets the farm, the second one holds on to the farm, and the third one loses it.
Good job, Grandpa.
So far, we've hung on to him. My grandpa had a stroke when he was 82 years old. And then he turned around and had another one. Well, the second one got him. And Dad, he had a stroke at 82. And that got him too. They both had 2.
Oh, wow.
The second one got him. And I told my doctor, I said, well, keep me going till I'm 82 years old. My dad and my grandpa both died at 82. I'm going to be going at 82. And he said, well, maybe we'll get a couple more years out of you. And sure enough, I'm 84 now. And I had one 2 years ago. As long as I can drive a pickup and and get parts and stuff like that, hey, I don't care anyhow. That's good enough for me. I don't care about driving tractors anymore. I've been there and done that. Young farmers, do not overextend yourself. If you need it, make sure you got enough money in the bank to pay for it. And you'll last, you'll make it through. Best thing to do is just, work hard, do what you can, and keep going. That's the only thing I know. It's been 65 years of just darn good living.
Okay, well then wave the camera and say bye.
Bye. See you later.